Two Colorado universities are the targets of an anti-affirmative action conservative group that has filed federal complaints alleging its distribution of federal scholarships is race-based and discriminatory. The University of Colorado Boulder and the University of Colorado Denver participate in the federal Ronald E. McNair Postbaccalaureate Achievement Program, also known as the McNair Scholars Program, named after one of the astronauts who was killed on the space shuttle. Now, the Equal Protection Project claims that white and Asian students face additional hurdles when being considered for scholarships. Collette Bowers Zinn, the founder and executive director of Access, a nonprofit organization that helps underrepresented students thrive in education, joins me from LA to discuss this. Glad to have you on the show. Collette, this is, I say it to people in my book, White Fear, these things were coming. These folks are mad, they're pissed off, they're angry, and this notion that somehow white and Asian kids are being exempted or they're not getting a fair share, I keep saying, they're going to go after any and everything that black folks have been trying to advance to marginally get ahead in this society.
Indeed, but the fact of the matter is they are ahead. And that's why these programs, these scholarships exist, to get at the inequity. And so it's just ridiculous that these things continue to happen and that they're using the exact system that provides systemic blocks to students of color, people of color, to prevent students of color and people of color from thriving, from getting at anywhere near equitable experiences. It's a problem.
Well, and what's happening now is that, again, when you go after one of these programs, it becomes a chilling effect, just like when they went after the venture group that was in Atlanta that was there to help out black and other female entrepreneurs. And so what they hope, they want to force people to begin to change their programs on their own out of fear of them being sued.
And that's exactly what's going to start to be the outcomes coming out of this. Because again, it's people who the system have worked for that then have the time and resources to perpetuate these silly lawsuits against people and institutions who don't have the time or resources to defend them. So it's going to cause fear across the systems so that people stop considering these type of program or hosting these type of program, because they don't want to deal with the potential of getting hit with lawsuits and anger and reactions and bad press and all of that come with organizations like the Equal Protection Project.
So how do we fight back?
Again, it's just like what you guys were talking about in the entertainment industry. At some point, we have to get really behind for us, by us. And we have to not only be for us, by us, and get the people in the Black community who have the wherewithal and the money and the resources and the connections to build up scholarship programs, support, etc., for our students of color to show up and help us and help our kids get to where they need to be. It's also that certain systems already exist, and we have to rally around our own once in these systems, like private school systems in our country. They exist. They get our kids to the universities that they need to be in, that ultimately lead to changes in life, lifestyle, generational change that our kids need. The fastest path to those places are private schools for our kids nowadays, because our public schools are so failing our kids of color at astronomical rates. So organizations like mine exist for those kids that have the opportunity to support them in the process and in navigating opportunities. We have to do more for us, by us, to help open doors for our kids and to support Black students and, Black people in general across all walks of life, across all professions, to be able to thrive.
Questions from our panel. Robert, you first.
On this, I've thought of most Def lyric while you're talking. You start keeping pace, they start switching up the tempo. And it's just interesting to me that the minute that we start making these advancements in education, advancements with corporate diversity, with leadership positions, all of a sudden they're starting to attack the fundamental underpinnings of what has helped to promote African Americans and other groups to beyond a subservient position within the socioeconomic stratosphere that exists. Is there a way for universities or for other groups to structure scholarship programs that would not be something that could be attacked under equal protection grounds, or that cannot be attacked by these conservative groups through the court system, or is it simply something we're going to have to fight out on a case-by-case basis?
I actually think that the way this trend is headed, we are going to have to fight it on a case by case basis. But this specific Colorado lawsuit, what you need to understand is one, that these are for $2,800 scholarships, right? So we're grasping at straws to be opposed to grad students getting $2,800 to help them. What you also need to understand is that to qualify for these scholarships, you have to be low income, first generation, or underrepresented. So that means you can be white and poor and qualify, or Asian and first generation and qualify, and a whole bunch of other things to qualify. This is just people simply whining that their lives are so privileged that they don't qualify and would have to have other things that would allow them to be eligible for this program. Thank your lucky stars. You're not first generation in college or low income or underrepresented, and keep it moving. It's these silly suits that are going to keep coming until we figure out how to support our own and find, like you said, some language legally. We need our Black legal community to come together and help figure out the language that's necessary for these scholarships, et cetera, and programs to proceed without being attacked legally every step of the way.
Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Collette, for being on the show tonight. In my opinion, America made up race and then codified it into all of our laws. So now there's a permanent Black underclass. And until we undo that, we will always have these issues. But this is my specific question about this. So these same universities have legacy admissions, and it largely and over-index benefiting white folks. So when our Black folks are going to start suing over legacy admissions, which is racial, based upon these universities' histories?
That's such a legitimate, good question. That's another piece of the puzzle that we have to start talking about as a Black community. When are we going to stop playing nice? This country was literally built on our backs. And as you said, systems then created coming out of slavery that gave us no shot at equity. And those have been perpetuated for many, many, many years. When are we going to get together as a people, pool our resources, and fight back in the systems that matter, legal and otherwise, with things exactly like what you're saying, coming against legacy?
Scott.
Hi, I feel your frustration. Couple points of clarification. One, there's several groups who are fighting back. There's just a lot of different lawsuits out there. Many of us, the Harvard case, North Carolina case, UNC case, we knew that the scholarship piece was next. But those decisions have no impact or do not cover specific scholarships, especially where a scholarship like these that issue in Colorado are race neutral, right? But we knew they were going to be attacked. And the legal pushback ought to be these allegations or this lawsuit or this administrative piece ought to be dismissed. Our enemies are looking for the next case like this. This may be it, where they can take to the U.S. Supreme Court to extend that decision, the Harvard decision, to make it apply to race-based scholarships, i.e. UNCF. But I think you're right. We've got to push back legally on all of these efforts to turn the clock back on us and to try to make America into this race-neutral society or that colorblind society that we know certainly does not exist. So I'd love your reaction to that and love to support you as you continue to push forward against these attacks.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree with you, and you're absolutely right. What I will say to you is that this is simply a continuation of these groups' attempts to, one, pit Asian students against other students of color, and to push, as you said, colorblindness in an education system that remains vastly inequitable in terms of racial disparities and is anything but colorblind. And they want to eliminate programs that have successfully increased the educational attainment of underrepresented segments of society. It's just, it's nonsensical. And we need
and they're
to
going to continue to attack.
Pardon me?
They're going to continue to attack industries and all parts of our cultural reality. And it simply isn't going to stop, notwithstanding that Harvard decision that was limited to college admissions.
It's not going to stop. And, trickle down. I do a lot of work with K-12s, kindergarten through 12th grade institutions. Mm-hmm. And without having legal precedents, they're already preparing for how they need to change things or what wording they need to use so that they don't potentially get sued. It's a mess. And so we have to figure out, what is the plan? What are we doing in defense of this? And mm-hmm. That's what you're naming. Where are we going to come up with the counter attack for this so that it doesn't spread further?